It is really what makes the glass sparkle and shine. And it's really important. Now, of course, my stuff has been dry for a little bit. So, but you want to wait to paint until your masking fluid, your drawing gum is completely dry. And you want to wait until your paint is completely dry before you add any more masking fluid or drawing gum, or before you take it off, because it can really ruin your painting.
Ooh, it's like Finnegan begin again.
It's horrible, horrible, horrible. Okay.
Got it all off.
Got it all off. And I can see there's a couple of places that, and it's just, again, because of the nature of the drawing gum, like this little edge right here, maybe that, where it was over in here, this is kind of raggedy. So have to decide what I'm going to go ahead and touch that first, and then I'm going to soften some edges that I see need to be softened. All right, so let me get this, make sure what I'm fixing to lay my hand in. And I didn't even think about it in post or slating. It was when I pulled up in front here, I'm like, oh, I didn't bring any finished pieces for y'all to ooh and ah over. And so anyway, I've got some stuff hanging out here, of course, along with these other wonderful artists that I just totally, completely admire their stuff. Bring just a little bit of line over here. All right, now I have a little scrubby, and let me find this. And it's just a little scrubber brush. I've got two of them. I've got a number 6 and a number 2. And sometimes it depends, the effect that you're going after depends on whether you're on the paint side or the masking or the drawing gum side, okay? So I want to soften this edge going that way, so I'm going to go from the white edge into the color with my brush. And this part right here is very pink, and so when I took the masking fluid, I masked it so that it wouldn't be gray. And so I need to, I'm going to get up here on this edge and get me a good little bit of clean color. Just get a little tiny touch of that gold in there. All right, now this little area right here, this looks like a little, I started to change it and I thought, well, because when I was masking it, I thought, it looks like a little face right here. So the little eye and the little smiley mouth. So we're going to soften that and maybe see if we can get rid of that, that kind of look right there. I don't know if y'all do that, see faces and all kinds of stuff. I know that June does because June's weird that way.
June, go ahead and go for the face.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'd probably put it in.
Yeah,
Oh, look, that's
yeah,
so cool.
look, yeah. Okay, and even while that's still just a little bit wet and scruffy, because whenever you scrub it, it disturbs the surface of the paper and changes the way that it grabs the paint. That has a little bit of a glow in it, so I'm going to go ahead and drop a little bit of the quinacridone gold in there. Soften this edge. Yes.
little brush you're using to scrub with, is that like an oil painting brush or?
It's designed for scrubbing.
It's designed for
It's
scrubbing.
very, very stiff. I used to
Yeah.
have a couple of brushes that I had just, cheap brushes that I had cut off to use those, but this one, I really love this because it's just really stiff, and so you don't have to,
It's
you have a little
cut-
bit more. Kind
It's cut in a bowl shape, so all of the fibers are cut up like a layer. It's kind of layered up, so when you do the scrubbing, it doesn't scrub in one spot, it kind of scrubs that entire area.
All right, let me shift this around, and I want to soften this edge on the back side of this spoon. And I'll show you, I don't know whether upside down or right side up. Right here, this spoon is dark, but this little area right here in this lip, that's too dark, and so it makes it look like you're seeing through that, but it needed all those same colors, and I could have painted that in at the end after I did the background, but I'm just gonna go ahead and lift that out a little bit. And so what I've got is I still have all of those yummy colors that are the background colors, but now it's not as hard as that, and as the value is not as deep as that background. This area right in here needs to be softened, and so I'm doing both sides of this. And I'm not really for sure exactly why I masked that area. I can't really give you a good reason on why I did that. Why I put that masked line down there. And I'm gonna go ahead and darken just a little bit back in here and let that come over.
I think you were looking at the two values, Natalie.
It's probably
Darker
so,
at the bottom
because,
and the lighter,
yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Natalie, why did you not put that big spoon that's in the photograph?
It was distracting to me.
Distracting.
Now, it probably would have been good because then it would have had that light area for that dark spoon to be against. And you can, if you see, can you see that little halo right there?
Mhm.
I drew it in, but I erased it out. And so whenever I erased it, that disturbed the paper. And so whenever I put the glaze, the layers of color on, it actually grabbed a little bit differently right there. But I just decided to leave that spoon out. And I have photographed it several different ways. And this is the one that I ended up grabbing to use. And I thought, oh man, I didn't want that great big spoon in there. Shoot. So soften this.
I'd have turned it
I want
into a face.
Yeah. Put some eyeballs on that thing. Go with it. Put a hat on it. Yeah. Let me get into the jar, the ball part of this, because that's really now where we're down to on getting the real sharp detail in here. Now this needs a little bit of help right up here. I'll come back to that. But let me get this. Get a little bit more of that Antwerp. Windsor. Windsor. That comes from being a mom.
I don't think there's any other one called Antwerp except Windsor Newton, right?
I have no idea.
Come on, Miss Paint Queen.
I don't look at the
There's
brands.
There's other brands that make Antwerp.
Really? They call it Antwerp?
This actually is,
How long have you been teaching at Western?
2 years. Miss Renee back there is one of my students. She's a friend and a student. So we were laughing about me saying, stop, 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 you know.
So you're just looking at 3 values on the ball?
Mm-hmm. And because of the way that this light is hitting this, I mean, you would think that it's all over, I mean, the light's coming from this direction, and you would think all of the shadows are over on this side, but some of them, like, you just can't depend on what your brain thinks because of the way the light just hits through that glass. And again, for some of you newbies that, whenever June was asking about the 3 values, that's what you want. And you want a light, a mid, and a dark. And that's really what makes the dynamics of a really strong painting. And this is part of that. See, this is almost a purpley on this back side. So let me see where that is. That's about right in there. I've lost that line. And a lot of times whenever I do my sketch like this, if I happen to lose where I'm at in the layers, I can come back and lay this on top and, bring back up and see that's where I missed that, or I'm missing that line.
Natalie, if you were gonna put this in a show, would you already have it named, or would you wait till you finish and then name it, or how do you do that?
The spoons in a jar. No.
Works for me.
I'd have said spoon it.
Yeah, I did have, and I've won a couple of awards with the spoons in a jar. It was Grandma's spoons, and I did it poured instead of painted. But I really wanted to do this one again in painted. So whenever Jane asked me about doing reflections, I thought, oh, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Because it had all kinds of neat shapes in it, and it's like, this will be fun. This will be fun. All right, I think I'm getting pretty close to being, there's a couple of more little blue areas that are needed, like in this area, because there's not that much white up in here. There's just this little bit of white right here. So these areas that I had masked out, that you would have thought that those were going to be white, those are actually going to be that Antwerp blue. So let me go ahead and hit that. How's my time, y'all?
You're good.
You're good.
Sometimes I paint for, we have a chocolate fest. I have an hour and a half to do complete work, so I'll practice at home, and I don't do watercolor for those, though. I'll do an acrylic, I'll do a landscape or something fun. I actually was doing 3 big chili peppers one time, and had the areas all blocked in, big red, orange. This guy walks back and he said, "What are you painting?" "Marbles. I thought I would paint marbles." And he's like, it's kind of like whenever your kids come to the bathroom door and say, Mom, what are you doing in there?" "I'm baking a cake." "No, you're not. You're going to the bathroom." "Why did you ask?" Anyway, I know that y'all don't do stuff like that to people that watch you paint. A little bit of color on that little area right there. Okay, let's see what else I'm missing. I think I'm getting pretty close. Turquoise right there, Antwerp right there.
Okay, do you always paint all the way out to the edge of your paper?
Most of the time, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
do you mount that, or are you gonna mat that?
I'll mat it.
You'll
I'll mat it.
but you'll just crop some of that out as.
I was really disappointed because because I get excited all the way out to the edges sometimes, and I just did this painting of this truck, and it was a full sheet, first full sheet of watercolor that I've done, and I went to go have it mounted, and I actually, I had it matted, actually with Western Fed kind of in my mind, and I'm like, then I looked at the sizes of the frame size for Western Fed, and I'm like, well, I'm going to lose some of this. Anyway, live and learn.
It's easier to do though than trying to cut that mat to fit that 1/4 inch or
Yeah,
that taped edge.
yeah.
It's way easier.
All right, I think, what color are you? We'll just get a little soft gray in that little area that's right there.
Antwerp blue is just Winsor Newton, but
Uh-huh.
it is a softer color of Prussian blue. Most companies are Prussian
Do
blue.
a Prussian?
Yeah, and it's just a softer color of Prussian.
I always like to give an alternative to a color.
Yeah, me too. But Prussian is really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Very dying.
It and Palo.
Yeah, they're very
Thanks.
stainy.
Okay, I think I've got some stuff going on right here. I need a couple of little stripes in that little spoon that's way bent from that image, the lettering. And you're not exactly white right in there, so we'll put a little bit of there. I'm going to use this bigger brush for just a second and soften this just a little bit more. And this. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to do for just a second is, well, I don't know who that is, so we're not answering that. Let's see, what else I need. Let me bring this in just a little bit right against that, because that's not white right there. I brought this, there it is, because sometimes we get a little carried away and we kind of get over the edges, or we get out of our lines or something, and we need to bring back a little bit of light. And so I'm just going to go right, this one doesn't really have this, but I'm going to just go right in here with just the tip of this blade, and just to show you that you can, if you do get, don't stay in the lines, or you have a little piece of red or something down here that you really didn't want that, but you don't want to really get into scrubbing it, we'll just scrape that away. So I think that that's as much as I'm going to do on that.